As you can see, in Europe, the situation is still dire. Italy, the hardest hit country in the area, is still reeling from this outbreak, virtually shut down as the number of deaths there continues to rise. But it's not all doom and gloom. After all, people have to do something while they're stuck in quarantine. ABC's James Longman has more on that.
Every day in Italy, it seems a new tragic record is broken. Today, the biggest single jump in fatalities. More than 1,200 now lost to this relentless infection, and a fourth day of complete isolation for millions. Schools closed, restaurants shuttered. Images of China's deserted streets were the first to shock the world. Now, the people of Europe are retreating into their homes as the virus approaches. And while most people are heeding officials' calls to keep to themselves, some are naturally getting a bit bored and creative. This man in Rome wore a large cylindrical disc around his body to keep others away while he was at a market. In Naples, solidarity. Unable to meet in person, neighbours unite in song. And in Italy's northern city of Turin, locals enjoyed aperitivos from their balconies, while a disco ball shed some much-needed light.
Tutti insieme!
And who needs a vacation when you have each other? This Australian couple recreating their cancelled cruise from their living room. And this tender moment between a brother and sister in America. He's autistic and scared of the virus. She teaches him a Bible verse to calm him down.
But power, love, and the sound mind. Amen.
While people around the world find joy where they can, the fight to stem the tide goes on. US and Korean armies banding together to disinfect an apartment complex in Daegu. For those under voluntary quarantine, a palpable sense of responsibility to keep others at bay. This woman in the UK showed us her daily amount of human interaction.
Who is it?
Hint, it's not much.
I'm under quarantine. Do you mind just leaving it at the door for me, please? Thank you. Oh, great, lovely. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too.
And she's not the only one. I too have to undergo quarantine after reporting from Italy earlier this week. Like millions of others, not fighting off a disease, but boredom.
So it's quite boring. Between lives, I have every intention of reading my books, but actually, in the end, I'm just watching a Mark Wahlberg movie because, you know, Mark Wahlberg.
Cut off from the nightmare, it's important to find lighter moments, but also remember those living it. Each night, people across the country set down a simple tribute to their heroes. This is Georgia in Milan.
We lit up candles every night here because we want to feel united, even if we cannot see each other, even if we cannot touch each other. We want to pay an invisible but strong homage to all the doctors and nurses that are constantly working to help us here.
And James joins me live from London now. James, we know you're in self-quarantine. We hope you are finding little moments of joy the same way these people are.
I have been. I mean, you saw there, I've been watching a lot of television, Diane. I've been trying to read my books. I managed to get a water rower into this apartment, but I have just found out, I thought I rented it for a week. It turns out I rented it for 3 months. So that was a little bit of a surprise. I'm not great with maths, but I think I might need it, actually, given what's been happening in Europe.
All right, well, we hope not. But talk to me a little bit about how the UK is handling things now.
Well, it's interesting, actually, because the UK has taken a very different tack to much of the rest of Europe. Boris Johnson believes that there's a possibility that Britain basically could pick up some kind of herd immunity to the virus, that actually what he wants is for the virus to pass through the population and for only the elderly and hospitals to be specifically protected, whilst everyone else perhaps could get it but may not be particularly affected by it. It's a very different tack to what we've seen in Europe. I mean, today in Spain, for instance, they declared a state of national emergency. We've seen Denmark and the Czech Republic basically seal their borders. France has shut down all schools, right from nursery through all the way up to university, and yet Britain is going it alone. And there's been a lot of criticism here in the UK, a lot of people saying, well, why do we think that we should be doing things differently when we've got the sort of similar number of cases bubbling around the same numbers as other parts of Europe? The logic, we're told from the government, is that they don't want to do this total shutdown, specifically a shutdown of schools, because those school children would then have to go home, and we have a huge number of health workers in this country who will then have to look after their children rather than spending time in hospitals. And the doctors in Britain say, actually, this virus is not passed around by children. They are not a high-risk group, and to shut down schools medically doesn't actually help the situation. So the idea here is to allow the virus kind of to remain at a kind of a controllable level, but perhaps for a longer period of time in order that the health service can keep up. Tonight, though, we're hearing that Boris Johnson has kind of made a little bit of a U-turn in the sense that tomorrow we're due to hear that mass gatherings in this country are going to be banned. That was something that he didn't really want to do. Scotland has done it because they have the health issues in Scotland are devolved from the rest of the United Kingdom. But England, up until tonight, wasn't going to do that. But now we're hearing they might. So there might be a change in the government. But basically, Britain doesn't want to go to the same sort of extremes as the rest of Europe.
All right, interesting take. James, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.